Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leilo Nishmat, Imi, Merossi, Ruspas Mordechai. Hi, Rebelli. So, Rabbi Sai, first I want to say that last night was tremendous. It was the first time that I gave a full shiur in Hebrew, and we had a very nice Olam, close to 30 people. We had 70 people on Zoom and YouTube, and I think it went very well. And I really want to thank all those behind the scenes, Dave Sharfman, who, by the way, I was learning here on Friday with my chavrusa, and he was by himself running cables from the front to the booth, and to the point where his hands were bleeding. He was taking this giant screen down and up by himself, putting it back, taking it off, like, what's going on? So Yishkoyach for all the hard work, Dave. Yishkoyach Evremi, Gershon, also known as Gary Ben Moshe, but now for the Hebrew shiur we have to call him Gershon. Benny, and Be'ezer Hashem, I think if we do it l'shem shamayim, if we do it to increase Torah and not for other reasons, it's going to be successful. Otherwise, I don't know. But when you do something l'shem shamayim, it has success. Hi Rebelli attaches a picture which reminds me, Rabbi said, when I read this email, I cried. I'm not saying you're going to cry. I cried. I'll tell you why. One Motzei Shabbos, on today's day 2 years ago, I sat down to learn the daf with a hot tea and a small mezainis, and here's the picture. About a minute or two into the reading the emails, I answered a Hatzlacha call for a serious car accident in my area. Not to get into the traumatic details of the call, but one young special girl passed away, and the other passengers had serious injuries as well. Needless to say, it was a traumatic night for anyone who was there. So when I read this, it really shook me to the core, because I always thought, Hatzlacha guys are tough. They see it all. They've been through it all. And here's a guy that's saying he's been on a call and it was traumatic. He couldn't speak. I got back to my house around 2 a.m. in an absolute daze and in shock. I couldn't even talk. But I didn't get a chance to learn yet. So at 2 a.m., I sat down to learn the daf. It's mamish emotional. For me, it's emotional. He sat down after a traumatic experience. He couldn't talk, but he learned the daf. I'm not sure what went in that night, and I definitely needed to learn it again the next day, but this was an important lesson. The daf never stops. Torah never stops. Nishmat Yisrael never stops, no matter what is going on in the world. This picture was taken after I ran out to the accident. It reminds me of that very important lesson. May the neshama of Liel Dina Bat Ephraim have an aliyah. Shragi Chafetz, RL 149. Mamish emotion. For me, I don't know about you guys. L'chvaid Moiri V'Rabbi Reb Eli Shlita. This is in Hebrew. I'm writing to you as a Talmud Bnei Braki that lives in America for 35 years, and I enjoy your shiurim every day. Today, I was zoichet the chazara on the shiur in English. I got used to listening, and I had anah b'kitzer. Anyways, the bottom line is, this guy's Bnei Braki, and he's hoping to learn chazara in the Mameloshin. Todar Rabban Schot Chelchel Araisa Shmulik Kleiner Bnei Braki that lives in America. Just for the Olam to understand, says Yisrael Goldstein, who goes on behind the scenes of editing a shiur and delivering to the tens of thousands of people worldwide to be able to learn the holy daf every day. I opened the old daf after Shabbos and the shiur was not up yet. So I gone down to my office and watched the shiur on YouTube. MDY subscriptions. That's where you can see the unedited shiur before Yosef posts the final version. But to my surprise, there were 2 shiurim, and each were about 2 minutes long. That's when I said to myself, I feel really bad for Yosef. Seeing that he's a little in this line. He's a photographer and he does this stuff. Small inkling what it takes to post a regular shiur with no hiccups. So kudos to Yosef Bilyak for all the hard work and extra effort, especially this past month's Shabbos shiur that must have made him crazy to put together. We all love you and appreciate your hard work. One of your best friends from afar, Yisrael Goldstein. Eli, I loved watching the MDY shiur for the past 2.5 years in English. I decided to watch a shiur in Ivrit tonight, which is very interesting. It's over 1,000 hits just on YouTube for the Hebrew shiur. And it was just posted last night because you used only easy Hebrew words. Thank you. I followed everything you said. You deliver a very clear shiur in 2 languages. I started by your fantastic Israeli accent, especially the way you rolled the letter Reish. I think your rich shears will be very successful. Be well. Shmuel Landsman Yishkoyach. Hi. This is from Yankel 0348. Hi. What's the word on Vayichili? To have in mind on Friday night. With Vayichili. So which got me to think that Be'ezer Hashem maybe next year will roll out the shir in Yiddish. And I would like to speak to this guy about Vayichili a little bit in Yiddish, so Yisrael Goldstein can make fun of me. It's a guy to say, wenn man sagt Vayichili, man wird das Shittif mit der Beine schleudern. Der hast das Shittif, kannst du beten, was du willst, ja? Kannst du beten, Rochnies, Gashmies, Memeile, bet, Davin, hat Kavune, in a Yud Tzat, Geich Zugen Ashin auf Yiddish. Oh, no. Yeah, that wasn't a nether, it wasn't a Beli nether, it was a joke. Okay, Blake Jabraski, huh? Next year when people ask me how I know Ivrit, I'll tell them Daf Yomi, Blake Jabraski. And, okay, this is a very long one. He wants to give me a bracha. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You actually decide to pull the trigger and decide to commit yourself to give the daily daven in Hebrew. Such an endeavor needs a supernatural bracha. Maybe Hashem's will to bless you with supernatural strength and commitment. The truth is, I feel, and I was telling this to Noam Yishkoach Noam for coming yesterday, and all those who mishtatev, but I think this is a case of where you work, it seems like you're working harder, but it's actually easier. Be'ezer Hashem, the Hebrew shir, as I'm getting into it, I'm noticing that it's going to be better. I'm going to be able to sleep longer, not get up that early. The English shir will be prepared a little better because I'm going to give the Hebrew shir first. The charts are going to be prepared in advance. I think it has a lot of milas. So anyways, he says if the Hebrew shir doesn't work out, don't worry about it, because once you start giving the very first daf shir, besides the Bezdin Shamal already credited your neshama's account, he knows what's going on over there. It already credited my account with 1502 continuous Hebrew daf shiurim. It makes the whole chesron because I did it in English. Kissa, you didn't break, you didn't fail, no excuses, keep up the great work. Yitam Shlomo Miles, Yeshakayach, Raboisai. The koil for the day, sponsored by Yitzchak Simkus. The Masechta for the unity of Am Yisrael. The Parnas HaChodesh, Nishmat, Chaneh bar Elimelech. Parnas HaChodesh, Nishmat, Mendel ben Pinchas. Parnas HaChodesh, Nishmat, Zechariah ben Moshe, Nishmat, Chaya bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh. Yosef ben Chaya is sorrowful, the zchusim that come from supporting limud HaTorah. Parnas HaShavua, the last day, for Shleima de Dvora, bas Sara, and Hatzlacha to all those who say Vayichili with kavana. Parnas Hayoim, Moshe Bochner. Parnas Hayoim, Shragi Chafetz. Listen to this. This is the guy. RL, whatever. RL something. Shragi Chafetz, leilo Nishmat, Liel, Dina, Bas Ephraim. He goes on a call, and leilo, she was nifter, and he remembers her 2 years later, and he sponsors a day of Torah in her schos. Unbelievable. Shkoich Shragi. Still moved by it. Unbelievable. Okay. Yes. Oh, who are the guests? Oh, Shalom Aleichem guest. Rick Bentley, Shalom Aleichem. Indianapolis? No way! That's right. They have property still over there. What, you live next to the J? In that area? I used to go there a lot. They said it was kosher. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I never.
No, I think it's under supervision.
Yeah.
Local route. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm here volunteering.
Wow, 4-week volunteering?
Yeah.
Kol hakavod.
With my wife's permission.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, a landsman, Indianapolis. Yavaldik. Who else do we have here? I noticed Rocky's not a guest. Mati's a guest. Who else? All right, Baruch Hashem. We're almost there. So Rabbi Isai, we're holding by Memhei Amud Beis, Tanya. So if you recall, yesterday we had 3 shitos in the machloikis in Muad. According to Rameir, if you do a shmira pchusa, meaning you just close the door with that a typical wind is not going to break it down. So if it's a Muad, you're chayiv. According to Rabbi Yehuda, Muad is actually better than a tam. So if you do shmira pchusa, you're potter. And according to Rabbi Eliezer, there's no helping. There's nothing you can do. You can put the animal behind the metal cage. If it goes out and damages, you are chayiv. The only way to watch an animal like that is to kill it. So now we're going to see, there's actually 5 shitas here. 2 of them are within Rabbi Yehuda, and here's a brand new one. Tanya Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Omer, and here it goes. This is the 5th one, the 4th one. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Omer. Echad tam ve'echad muad sheshamru shmir b'chusa pater. He argues on everybody, because we said, according to everybody, you need a shmir mu'ula on a tam. He said, no, it doesn't matter. A tam, muad, they're both the same. And the shmira b'chusa, the lower level, watching, just to put it behind a simple door, I mean, you're talking about a very, very weak shmira. You're talking about a wind off the beach knocks it down. In other words, a bull, just by mistake hitting it, the door goes flying. It's nothing. It's like a cardboard box. But that's what people do. That's how people watch their bulls, and that's why we don't expect more from a shomer chinam, expect more from a shomer sachar. But just to give you an idea, shmir pchusa means literally it's pchusa. It's a low level. So why does he say you potter? My taima, because savar like Rabbi Yehuda. On the one hand, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Amar muad b'shmir pchusa sagile. On a muad, Rabbi Yehuda says this incredible thing that a muad needs less watching than a tam. An animal that struck 3 times, you watch him less than an animal that didn't strike at all. Oh, so once we got there, that a muad is enough b'shmir pchusa, then I say v'yalev, and this is no chiddush to us. We had this yesterday as well. V'yalev negicha l'tam and negicha muad. It says twice negicha, and you learn one from the other. So if muad is enough b'shmir pchusa, so too is a tam, and they're both potter. And here comes the famous Omar Avada Barahava. And this will help us a little bit to understand this wild Rabbi Yehuda. How is it possible that an animal that gored 3 times and he's a bad guy? You have to watch him less than you have to watch an animal that never gored. Omar Avada Barahava. Leipata Rabbi Yehuda elot tzad ha'adah shaboy. This is also not a chiddush to us. This is also something that we learned a number of times. That a muad is actually built out of 2 components. It's built out of a tam, 50% tam, and 50% muad. It doesn't change from a tam to a muad 100%. That it was a tam remains for life. All we do is we add another component called a muad. And therefore, on the tam part, you have to watch him like you watch a tam. You need a shmir mula. On the additional component, that'll be mekel. It eases the pain a little bit. It's not pshat that you take an animal that's wild and kills things and then you say, oh, the entire thing you don't have to watch at all. No. Only half of it you don't have to watch as much as the tam, but the tam part remains. Avatzat tamos b'mkoymoi medes. And now there's a very nice Tosfos here. Tosfos Dibur Maskele Potter Rabbi Yehuda all the way at the end. He says, Potter be'dasil le'manoma palganiska knasale amrinam b'mkoymoi medes. You're right that this bull is built out of 2 parts, 50% tam, 50% muad. And the tam, we said, is a knas. But whoa, you can't go to Bez and say, oh, I'm moed in the knas. I admit to the knas, and therefore I shall be potter. No, that far we don't take it. It's 50% tam for certain things, not for everything. The kivin the yad, lav knasu. Once he becomes a muad, we remove that knas part of it. Okay. I just want to say that I know some of my friends as well, but to me, I feel that I'm like a 20-year-old. Just happens to be I put on another 31 years to it. But I'm still a 20-year-old. Like, Tzad Tammuz b'mekayimei medes. I'm still like this, you know what I'm saying? A lot of you guys are like this. I just got married yesterday. I don't know what you want. 8 o'clock, that's like an addition. Somehow it happened. But I'm still that mishuggah that I got married 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? What? You're still a baby. So I don't want to shock the oil. You're right.
Then you're still 10.
What?
Then you're 10.
So, he's 10?
You're 10.
I'm 10. No, but I have to be Magachir. I have to come out like at least 20. Like Chayiv and something. Okay. Omar Rav. So we have 4 shitas. Omar Rav, Mud Lekeren Yamin, and a Mud Lekeren Small. So he says a fascinating thing here. This we learned, Rabbi Isai. Rashi talks about it. If you have a muad that only gores on a Sunday or on a Shabbos, or he only gores people, he doesn't gore animals, he only gores animals, not people. So we say he's a muad for that. So let's say you have an animal that only hits other animals with his right horn. We never saw him hitting with his left. He always goes to the right. Is he a muad on the left horn? The answer is no. You can make muad for anything. He's a muad for this, not a muad for that. So what is Rav saying? Rav's saying another step. You don't even have to watch him like a muad when it comes to the left horn. You only have to watch him on the right. If animals pass on the right, you gotta make a separation. Animals that pass on the left, towards his left horn, you don't have to. He's not a muad. He's a tam. Oh. That's what the Gemara is going to ask. What did he gain? It's like almost okay. So let's see. Says Gemara, whoa. What did you gain? You said if he's a tam on the left side, you don't have to what? The shmir is going to be different. In what way is shmir different? Amri, Aliba the man. Who does it? Aliba the mayor. According to Meir, it doesn't matter. Regardless, your shmira is going to be the same. You're going to have to watch him, the left, the right. It's all the same. Because a tam and a mud, you have to watch them, the top shmira. Aliba the Yehuda. Okay, so we'll say it goes according to Rabbi Yehuda. That what? Rabbi Yehuda, we said in Ravad Rahava, that even a muad is built out of two components. There's a tam and a muad. Ma'ir yer keren small. Afilu biyamin nami is beitzad tamos vis beitzad muedes. So what's going on here? You watched him a shmir b'chusa. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, when it comes to a muad, you're good. You don't have to pay anything if you watch a muad, a very low level shmira. But wait a minute, a muad is also a tam. He's 50% tam. And on that 50% tam, you have to watch him the best of the best. So the left horn, you have to watch him the best shmira because he's a tam. And the right horn, you have to watch him the best shmira because 50% of it is a tam. So again, you didn't gain anything. Either way you look at it, it's a right, it's a left, it's a muad, it's a tam. Every muad is a little bit of a tam. So the little bit of a tam that you have in the right hand, on the right horn, is the same exact thing as the left horn. So what did you gain? Tell me, in what way are you going to watch this bull differently, the right horn and the left horn? No, we said that the right horn is a muad. But a muad is built out of, the left is 100% tam. You're right. So what? You have to watch a tam, shmir mula. The right horn is also only 50% tam because 50% is a muad. But you still have to watch the 50% shmir mula. So you didn't get anything. Amri, says the Gemara, Lo'ilam ki Rabbi Yehuda, Rav was like Rabbi Yehuda. V'loi sfir le'der Ravada Rahava. Okay, so this brings us to 5 shitas really. In Rabbi Yehuda itself, we have a machlokes. How do you view a muad? In Rabbi Yehuda, does Rabbi Yehuda say? Rabbi Yehuda says that a muad you only have to watch a lower level shmira. But what is a muad? According to Ravada Rahava, it's 50-50. It's a little bit of a tam, a little bit of muad. So therefore, anyways, you have to watch him shmira mula. But according to this pshat in Rabbi Yehuda, we don't hold this to Rabbi Yehuda. There is no 50-50. A muad is a muad. Oh, so then what did he gain, Rav? That what? I have a situation, there is one case, says Rav, that I can make one animal both a tam and a muad. How? He's a muad on the right hand side and not for his left horn. But I don't believe that you can take one horn and split it down the middle. I don't believe you take one animal and split him down the middle and say, the animal's built out of two components. No, an animal is a 100% muad. It happens to be that he doesn't gore on Fridays. It happens to be he doesn't gore to his left side. So he's a muad, but we trained him on the left side not to be a muad, and he's a tam on that side. That's how you get an animal that's both. But if he's really a muad on both of his horns, you can't say, oh, half of his horn is a tam. That doesn't work. I don't agree. And the bottom line is, if you look at now at the, let's see where we have it over here.
You need a shmira ma'ula on the left side, on the top.
No, yeah. Correct. In this case, as Rav, I have an animal that's 100% a muad, but he's a muad only on his right side. on his right horn, and a tam on his left hand. So Memela I have an afkamina, says Rav. On the left side, you're going to need a shmira mu'ula, because a tam, for whatever reason, Xeris HaKasav, needs more watching than a mud. I saw the Pnei Yeshua says a svara. He says, if he's a mud, everybody knows about him. It's like it has a shem davar. So everybody walks away from him, everybody runs away. Okay, fine. Whatever svara you want to read. I like better, it's Xeris HaKasav and finished. But anyway, here's the four sheetahs that we had. But if you take Reb Yehuda, I didn't have patience to do it. If you take Reb Yehuda, you could split him Reb Yehuda in the middle. One sheetah in Reb Yehuda says that you could have a mud and a tam in one animal, and the other sheetah says no. Okay. Reb Eliezer Omer, Ein lo shmira elo sakin. Reb Eliezer says there's no way to watch an animal that has 3 strikes. You got to kill him. Omer Rabbi, my time in the Reb Eliezer, where did he get this? The Omar Kro, v'lo yishmereno. So the Gemara is learning v'lo yishmereno doesn't mean and he didn't watch him. It means you shouldn't watch him. V'lo yishmereno, don't watch an animal like that. You got to kill him. Shuv ein lo yishmir lezeh. Omer le'abaya le'me'ata d'chsiv v'lo yichasenu. We have the same pasuk, the same lashon. When it comes to a bar, to a pit, so you're going to say, Nami, shuv ein lekisa lezeh. You shouldn't cover it. Maybe that's what the Torah meant. Once you have a pit, that's it. It's all over. You're always going to lose. But now we learned in the Mishnah, Kisol Karoi, Vinofal, Mamish. I think it's in this parak, right? Nun Beis in this parak. Whatever. When does Kwoina start? Yeah, it's in this parak. A lot of this parak talks about bar. If you cover the pit properly, and an animal fell into it, it says first, if you cover it, you're good. I'll tell you what. How do you know you're not allowed to have a Rottweiler, a pit bull in your house? You're not allowed to have a shaky ladder in your house? It's also to have something dangerous in your house. So Mela, that's why you have to get rid of this animal. He says, you have to kill it, because the Torah says you're not allowed, it has nothing to do with this bull. Anything dangerous in your house, get rid of. A bad dog, a bad bull, a bad staircase, whatever it is. They want to learn here in Rashi that there's a machlokes Rashi and Tosfos, whether according to Reb Nosson in Reb Eliezer, since there's 2 psukim here, and also v'lo yishmerenu, that even if you watched it, what's the halacha? Even if you watched it properly, are you chayiv or not? Seems like from Rashi that you would be chayiv even if you watched it, all the shmiras and everything, because you have a chiyuv to get rid of it, and you didn't get rid of it. Hadran aloch shor shenogach harbar v'chamisha. Hadran aloch shor shenogach harbar v'chamisha. Hadran aloch shor shenogach harbar v'chamisha.
The other Gemara that mentions Yado Odom Silabra talks about it being attached to something, where it's like, with Shar Shobazo, here they leave it out.
Really? What do you mean? I don't remember that. It's attached to Shasher? Yeah?
The dog is attached to a chain.
If that's
I don't remember.
So you shouldn't have that Silabra, even if it's attached, unless it's attached to a chain.
I forgot to look into it. First of all, we have in Brachas that David HaMelech had dogs. So a lot of people say, you're not allowed to have any dogs. There's a Gemara that seems like you're not allowed to have a dog. It happens to be that dog is the, in terms of the Torah, Esnan Zaina, Mechir Kelev, dog is the worst in terms of animals. But people go, they want to bring a ride from here. You could have a nice little dog, a little poodle, a little, what do you have again?
Cavalier, King Charles.
King Charles. Those dogs are not, it's not a rab. It says Kelev Rab. It's everybody's like, what? Huh? No, that's the same exact dog that my son has. That's my anicle, yeah. What is it called again? I forgot what it is. A Maltese, yeah. Mando. We'll talk about the dogs later. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored by Moshe Cohen, l'schus Hatzlacha Gedola in Ruchnius and Shef and Gashmius. Shor shenogach esapara v'nimtza ubro b'tzida. So you have a shar that's a tam. So just to go over it again. Yeah, the Olam that was here yesterday is making me feel very. Why are you guys here? You. Let me just say, but when I do say the jokes, just plots and you and Ashi, just you can make a matzav. A little shmach. Oh yeah, I forgot to get new jokes. I was just saying, listen, I can say whatever I want with the Israeli, start all over, say every mice that I ever had. And after short tam. So Rabbi said, in case you just started today this perek, a tam is an animal who gores less than 3 times. And what do you pay? You pay up to the value of the animal, mashal megufay. It's very important to this Mishnah to know this part. You only pay whatever the animal's worth. So if he causes $1,000 damage, and the animal that caused the damage is only worth 100, all that guy's going to get is 100. He's going to lose 900. So, and a muad, that's not important for today. Mishal ma'aliyah, I guess it is. If he struck 3 times, you have to pay the full amount. Oh, we have this. You should put this together. If the animal's worth 500, you pay from the back up until 500. If it's worth 500, and he did, it doesn't show they did it. Oh, Hezek, it says all the way on top. Hezek, 1,500. 1,500, so all he pays is 500. But if he caused a $1,500 damage and the blue cow is only worth 500 and he's a muad, he pays 1,500, he takes his real estate. Nali is the real estate. Okay. So Rabbi said, here's a little clip. And here's the question. If Bezdin sees this clip, what exactly are they thinking? What are they going to pass? And here goes the clip. I guess there's no volume. There's a little baby on the side that's not really living that much. And the question is, when did it lose its life? Because you know that the screen went dark. We don't know what happened during that set. Was the baby there before the mother got hit or after? So what is that called? That's called the drawer de mamayna. We have a real suffix. We don't know what happened. Nobody was there. Nobody could claim they know what happened. When we have a real suffix like that, who says Am Yisrael? Ooh, like Chachamim. What else could it be? Let's hear. No. What's your name again? He's going to be bar mitzvah soon. What's your name? Your first name? Huh? Osher. He's not bar mitzvah yet. Not yet. He's wearing tefillin. Not bar mitzvah yet.
Why is it bar mitzvah?
Don't tell him because he's going to come. No. The Simon Jacob's grandson. Anyway, he's a big Ilui. So, no, what's the other thing that could be? If not, huh? Yachloiku. All right. Anyways, I want to point out that I saw myself in Chassidus Shvarim. I read a lot of Chassidus Shvarim. Chayvus HaTalmidim brings this Mishnah many, many times. I want to say at least 10 times as an example of learning Torah Lishma, even when it's not maybe 100% Negeya. Like, okay, who has a cow? Who has a this? Why do I need to know? That's what the kids always say. Why do I need to learn about a Shar Shanag Sapara? The truth is that it's very Negeya. We have cars that cause damage to other cars, etc. Do they give birth? Not necessarily, but there's other ramifications that we could learn from this. In other words, we're learning about a suffix that happened in Mela by itself. Yep. This is mamish learning l'shma. Yishka, you didn't have to come. And you also make me feel uncomfortable.
But the car is getting driven by the man and Adam what they
Ooh. Yeah, but what about a car? He's saying that a car is driven by a human being. But what about the new cars that are coming out now that they drive by themselves? The AI cars. Oh, you gotta.
It's like you have to program it, don't you?
Ooh, Ashi. That's the whole sugya. Let's see the sugya. Talking about programming AI. Givaldi. Like, I want to also mention that I went on this thing called the Mentor's Mission. I mentioned it a few times, but I think I went on like 4 mentor missions. Basically, they take these balabatim in America that want to go on a trip in Eretz Yisrael and want to feel good about themselves, and they match them up with guys that are not religious yet. They're thinking about becoming religious, and they bring them to they make you pay for the guy also. That's the best part. They make you pay for this guy, and this college student, Shalom Aleichem, you become his buddy. You sit next to him in the bus for a whole week, and every day you start off in Ar Sameach in Yerushalayim. and the Rashiva told us, and every time it's the same story. You're only going to learn with them Torah, you're only going to learn Gemara. But the guy never learned Gemara before. So that's it. You're not going to learn Musar, you're not going to tell him anything. You're going to learn Gemara. We're going to learn Shoshanagach. Here it is. Not every time it's Shoshanagach, but they'll just grab random sugyas. And you learn. And he says that brings people back to Yiddishkeit. How? I don't know exactly how it works. I was thinking maybe because it purifies your neshama. I don't know exactly what. It works. Shay. I just remember learning with the guy, Shoshanagach, and I mentioned it a few times. I actually now, when I was in Chicago, the guy came to the shiur and I spoke to him. I brought him on camera. Andrew, his name was. I don't remember what they call it. He goes by Avram now. He has like 4 kids in a real Haredi school. He went from, I remember him then. It was unbelievable. There's another guy there, also in Chicago. He has a beard today, mamish. He's like a makubal up there. He's like a great basketball, whatever. Anyways, different time. But Gemara. So try it out. I think also Lev Lachim, or who does the here in Eretz Yisrael, they learn Gemara. That's their thing. Learn Gemara. Then Yedua, and I'm the reason why I was thinking about it, I forgot to mention yesterday, but it's good that I didn't mention yesterday, is that there's such a thirst now in Eretz Yisrael for Yiddishkeit because of the war and everything, and that was one of my hopes that maybe who knows who's going to watch the shiur in Hebrew, and through Gemara, you never know. A lot of these people that are distant, but they want to see what's going on in the Gemara, and they learn Gemara. A lot of them, so maybe they'll chapzachon. Okay, so here's the shayla. Ve'ein yidu'im ad shloi nokcha yolda im shenokcha yolda. We have a real serious dilemma here. What happened? Did the mother lose her pregnancy? Did this baby die before the damage or after? Now the Gemara in Bava Basra says right away. What do you mean? You see a car accident, you see a dead baby, use your mind. What do you think happened? Isn't it muchach? Isn't it the muchach? Isn't it obvious? And the Gemara says, you're right, it happened because of the accident. But perhaps it happened a moment before the accident. The mother saw this bull coming, charging, and she lost her pregnancy. Maybe that's what happened. Okay, that's Gemara in Bava Basra. Mishalem, so what do you do? So because we're talking about a tam, and the tam only pays 50%, so you take 50% out of the cow. But here's the problem. Urevia nezik levlad. So let's just explain what's going on here. The vlad, the baby, is also a tam. Maybe the baby was part of it. So the baby, you take 50%. But we don't know if the baby was involved or not. So we split that 50% in half. So we're left with a quarter. But if you do the math, it comes out that the guy that had damage, instead of receiving what he typically should receive, which is 50%, because the tam damaged him, it comes out that he got 3/4. 50% from the mother and 1/4 from the baby equals 3/4. What's going on there? To be discussed in the Gemara. Says the Gemara, it says the Mishnah. V'chein para shenokchas hashar. Now let's flip it around. You have a female, doesn't have to be a female, but we'll flip the story around. You have the cow attacking the bull. Again, a tam. V'nimtzav lada b'tzida, and it has to be a female, yes. Yeah. Which okay, Yishkoyach. There's a guy, Nachamal, one of those stories in yeshiva, where if you learned in yeshiva, you know exactly. Sometimes they stay on the first word or 2 words for a week. So the guy had a whole shayla why it says shor shenokes apara. Why couldn't it be shor shenokes ashar? And he finally, this ma'aseh would just happen now. Okay, fine. Because she had a baby. And we don't know if the baby was involved or not involved in the attack. In other words, if the baby was involved in the attack, what do we say? We said the tam pays from whatever value it has. So let's take not only the value of the mother's worth $1,000, $500, Yoshi said $500, but the baby's worth another $100. So let's take half of the baby. Now we have $600 instead of $500. But maybe the baby was born before the damage. Yeah. The whole baby, but half of the damage. Yeah. Keeps on saying it. You're right. I keep on saying it. You keep on correcting me. Forget it. Just let the mistake happen. Then you do once again, we take half from the mother and 1/4 from the vlad. Zu divrei sumchus. This is sumchus. The Omar momen amutu besafik chalkim. Since we have a real suffix, again, with that mashal, where if a guy goes over to a random person in the street and says, hey, you owe me $1,000. That's not a suffix. That's him making up a story. Over here, we have a real story. Here, there's a video. This is what happened. We have a baby sitting here dead. What happened? You tell me what happened. Nobody knows. Nobody can tell you what happened. So that's the story of Drora de Mamoina. That it's a moment amutu b'safik. This is monetary prowess sitting here in a suffix. Chalkim. I want to point out that just on Shabbos, this Shabbos we spoke about Shlomo Melech and it's mamish word for word. Shlomo Melech and Yachloiku. The famous story where there's a baby and two mothers were fighting over the baby. This one said it's her baby, and Shlomo said, let's split the baby in half. And the one that had Rachmanis and started crying, Shlomo said, oh, that's the true baby. Now, does anybody know, besides the guy that was here yesterday, when is the next time we're actually going to hear this HaTorah again?
20 years from now.
17 years from now. 17 years. I wish somebody would have announced it before the HaTorah, seriously. Rabbi said, you're not going to hear this HaTorah for 17 years. Okay? But then, of course, we have to say the famous Maisa, where there was a city where there's only girls. So they sent the guy out to find the shidduch. The girls never. So the guy, he couldn't find anybody. He found one guy. As soon as he came back, there's a big fight over the guy. Whose shidduch is it? This woman said, you got him for my daughter. And this woman said, so they went to the Rav. And the Rav said, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut the guy in half. I'm going to half to you, half to you. So the Rav looked around and he saw that one of the women was extremely excited about this. And he said, oh, you're the real mother-in-law. You take the chassid. All right. She's really laughing now.
I had a good night's sleep. What can I tell you?
Me too. Ava chachamim oimrim, say chachamim, ze klal godol badin. I've never heard this. I don't know. I didn't do a search. Ze klal. This is a huge rule, a major rule. Hamoitzi mechaveroi olav araya. We have the concept of hamoitzi mechaveroi olav araya. So I got to say the Satmar Rav. The Satmar Rav says hamoitzi mechaveroi olav araya means as a hint. It's not that he's learning to chat like that. He says hamoitzi mechaveroi. If you want to get something out of your friend, in other words, like let's say you want to teach your child something, you have to lead by example. You can't teach your child something that you yourself don't do. You can't tell him not to smoke when you yourself smoke. You want to get something out of your child, teach him. Allah varaya. On him has to be the burden of proof. He has to lead by example, not like that piece of art that I saw the other day where the father is standing outside a shul, schmoozing with his friends, and he tells his kid, go inside the shul. So the kid says, I'm doing what my Rebbe said. My Rebbe said, you got to stand next to your father the entire davening. You got to lead by example. He liked it. Say there, the jokes are not good, not in Hebrew, not in English. Ask the Gemara, what's this giant lashon? Such a major rule. So Gemara says we have two major chidushim here. Itzrich. Even in the case of Bari V'Shema, this one says I know for certain. And this one says I don't know. Not to confuse anybody, I'll say it real quickly. Taisus says this is a case where we don't say Bari V'Shema, Bari Adav. Usually we do. Because over here, the Bari is a weak Bari and the Shema is a strong Shema. Meaning, because there's such a big suffix here, you're just lying when you say you know what happened. You can't be a Bari in that case. And that guy that says, I don't know, he really doesn't know because it's such a big suffix. So he's a strong suffix and you're a fake or a weak Bari. And that's what. But if a guy is really Bari, he says, you owe me $100, he's a strong Bari. And the other guy is a weak Shema, then Bari is Adif. Inami, another Chiddush, Itmar, which we learned. A guy bought a lemon. I just realized yesterday there's no such thing called lemon in Hebrew. Okay, he bought a lemon. He bought a shar. He thought he's getting a great tractor, and it turns out that it's a nakhan. The guy's a wild animal. We go by the roiv. Most people buy tractors. They don't buy it for meat. The seller who's holding on to the money, he's a muhsik in the money. could say, listen, I thought I'm selling you for meat, and that's it. Because a tractor costs more money, and he says to Gemara, what's the problem? Let's see, is this guy a farmer? Does he need the bull for plowing? Or is he a butcher? He has both. He has a butcher shop and he has fields. I don't know. So the Gemara, but nevertheless, meaning. But if I knew for sure that he only has fields, you're right. You would have to give him back the money. They have prices. A tractor costs $2,000. A bull for meat, which is at the end of its life or whatever it is $1,000. So let's see how much he paid. Tysus points out here that if I buy just the, I forgot what it's called, the thing that goes over the bulls, the yoke. If I buy a yoke and I pay $2,000 for the yoke, isn't that obvious that I'm buying two bulls with it? Says Tysus, no. He could say, you bought a yoke, you overpaid for the yoke. It's only in this case where you're buying the bull and there's different types of bulls. Okay, as I said, you can't always, in other words, says Tysus, you can't always invoke this, let's see how much he paid. Based on what he paid, he probably also, not only did he buy the car, but he also bought the house that the car. No, that's not, it doesn't work like that. So what if he paid $10 million for a car? It doesn't mean that, obviously that. Okay. Let's see the Oiker, says the Gemara, you can't prove anything from the price. Let's see the Oiker, Bisser, Koibet, Meiridia, it's both, they're equal. The bull for a tractor, the bull for the butcher shop, same price. Says the Gemara, Amud Beis, sponsored, I think this is the last day by Hanan Averbach. Leilo Nishmat, his holy nephew, who's today is his shloishim. Leilo Nishmat ben Yamin, Meir ben Zev, David, is the Neshama should have an aliyah. Leilo Nishmat ben Yamin, Meir ben Zev, David, is the Neshama should have an aliyah. Ask the Gemara, if it's the same exact price, let's see, what's the case? If a person wants his money back, he bought a tractor, he got fooled, he realized it's not a good tractor. I want my money back. He goes back to the seller, and the seller says, I already spent the money. So he says, give me everything you have. Give me anything you have. So he says, okay, I don't have anything. So here, take my bull back and give me something in return of my bull. So the guy gives him back the bull. He doesn't have money. So at the end of the day, he's going to end up with the bull. So what did he gain? Says the Gemara, because there's a saying, from the guy that owes you money, pari ibra, take whatever you could get. Okay, you don't know what's going to be tomorrow. He might tell you he doesn't have anything. If today he has subin, he has oatmeal, take the oatmeal. So memela, yeah, fine. Says the Gemara, no, obviously the obvious answer. He has money. So if he has money, give me cash. I'll give you the bull. Give me cash. If the guy doesn't have money, you're going to give him back the bull, and he has nothing to pay you. So he'll give you back the bull. So you didn't get anything. The guy has cash. Rav Amar Reza Mekach Tos. So now the Gemara just explains why is it. What's the machlokes? Rav says the Mekach Tos Zil Basaruba. There's always the majority. V'Ruba Dinshel Iridio Dizavne. Most people buy cars. They buy tractors. They're not buying meat. Ushmul Amar Yachal Shiyom Elei L'Shchita Mechartiv Lach. And Shmuel argues. Why? The point is whether or not do we go after the majority or not. He says, you don't go after the majority. This idea that we go after the roiv is by Tisha Chanuyos. Let's say a case of Tisha, a famous case, you have 9 stores that sell kosher, 1 store sells treif, and you find a piece of meat on the sidewalk. You're permitted halachically to eat the meat. Why? Because you go by the majority of the stores. That's when it comes to Isser. When it comes to money, monetary things, and we have a raya from a brisa that in fact there's a machlokes in the Mishnah, right? It doesn't say anything in the Mishnah about a machlokes. It just says you give half of this, half of that. No machlokes. Over here we see there's a machlokes. So tani nami hachi. That's our Mishnah. That's our Mishnah, and as the Gemara explained, it goes according to Sumchos. And here's the opposing view. Boom, beautiful. We have a machlokes between Sumchos and Chacham. How do you know this concept that if you have to prove something when you want to get something out of somebody, you have to prove it? Now, what would you say? Where do you learn this concept? If I come to you and I say, you owe me $100, I have to prove it. Where do I learn this concept from? Logic. Why would you have to pay me $100 if I can't prove it? Prove it. So the Gemara says, no, I have a pasuk. Shenemar mi bal dvarim yigash aleihem. Yigash, it could have said yavay aleihem. What's this yigash? Should come near. Yagish raya aleihem. We could read it a little differently. Instead of yi with a chirik, we'll put a patach over there. Ya yagish raya aleihem. He'll deliver his proof. Yeah, pasuk. Mascular of Ashi. The famous Reb Saul Salanter, he says the first mitzvah in the Torah is not to be stupid, not to be an idiot. That's the first mitzvah in the Torah. So like maybe brought it right. Like, why do I need a pasuk? How in the world would I think that if you came to me and say, hey, Eli, you owe me $1,000. Oh, I have to give you $1,000 because you said so. Prove it. Do you have a document? Do you have a witness? What do you have? I need a pasuk to say that he has to prove it. Why do I need a pasuk svaru? It's plain, simple logic. Why the koyev lekeve? If somebody has pain, he's the one that goes to the doctor. You have pain. You say ayoy. You go to the doctor. You bring your raya. A guy comes to the Rebbetzin and says, Rebbetzin, I understand something. Why is your husband, the Rebbe, why is he always screaming by davening? He's screaming, crying. Well, calm down a little bit. So she didn't say anything. A few days later, the guy comes to her and says, I asked you to watch my money. The Rebbe has a nice fancy safe. Can I have my money back? She says, you never gave me any money. I don't know what you're talking about. She says, what do you mean? What are you going to lie? You didn't never give me money. So the guy started screaming at her. He says, what are you talking? You're mamish a liar. I gave you money. He says, you see, you're screaming. Why are you screaming? Because it hurts. When it hurts, you start screaming. So it hurts the Rebbe. When the Rebbe is davening, I gotta say, because my chavrus is on my case already for the last month. He keeps on telling me, we're fighting with Yishmael. Yishmael is Yishmael Kel. You gotta daven. The only way we're gonna beat those Arabs is if we scream HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the only way. Azay Zokter. So you could tell him when you see him, if anybody sees him, say, Eli said, Yishmael Kel is beautiful. Just say, it was unbelievable how he said it, and it was mamish. We're gonna all scream now. Okay. Because he tells me all the other stuff that I say. You said this wrong, that. So you can tell him this. The pasuk comes for something else, a different. You're right. To say that you have to bring a raya. That's simple logic. Comes to say something else. So check this out. Yosef did a great job here. When you have a malva and a loiva, the malva comes to court. He says, I lent this guy $100. You owe me $100. So the loiva has a counterattack. He says, but you took my watch. So what do? The pasuk says, we listen to the malva first. It seems like they have equal tightness. He says, you owe me $100. He says, you owe me a watch. No. He's Toiveya number one. He's claiming it first. Let's deal with him first. You pay him $100. Then we'll talk about your watch afterwards. How do I know that? Maybe we should deal with the watch first and then take care of it. Because Shenemar mi bal dvarim yigash aleihem yagish dvarim aleihem. The first guy, he comes first and he brings his claim. The other guy sort of kind of admits to it. Let's take care of that. However, Amri Nardoi say there's an exception to the rule. Check this out. The malva gave money. Now there's a big sign. I didn't change it into Hebrew. I'm looking for a very special type of watch. It's that, willing to pay big money. In other words, this is the first Pshat Rashi. If the guy could do a great deal on his watch, and by you, Bezdin, dealing with the malva's claim first, over mine, I'm going to lose this buyer, then I deal with the loiva first, and here it is. Loiva is the first guy, and malva is the second, because there's a special situation over here. V'chein parashanokas ashar. This is a little bit of a problem. You know what? I guess we will have to start here tomorrow. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
What is the sugi of Yal Kigam?
No idea.
No, I have some.
Shir malo is sorry naya lorim ayu vayezri ezri mimadino yosei shumayim boret ayten amodak lecha yonum shrecho hinei lo yonum v'lo yishod shemei Yisrael adonai shrecho adonai zchaya yiminecho goy v'Hashem shlo yakeko b'yirei v'aloilo adonai shmocho b'koro yishmoz nafshecho adonai shmoz zizcho v'yecho me'atov v'adilo v'acharek v'Yisrael nesur mitzvot v'shivyo Oim dem ben bei yom ben bei yavosh mo kim nachem levim tzim so levach ma fel b'shivul legula shtav gazman korev maro ben